I unknowingly slept with a Royal Marine's wife. Obligatory, not today. However, enough time has passed and with anonymity, I should be able to tell this and remain unharmed. Around 12 years ago, I'd stopped in my local for a pint or two, to drown my sorrows. It was a great little place, typically frequented by the local uni students. Great music, good views and cheap beers. What more could a single man ask for? Halfway through Guinness Note 2 I lock eyes with a lass across the way from me. She's there with another guy, turns out to be a work colleague, and she gives me a beautiful smile. Smile back, shyness kicks in and I find myself very invested in finding the bottom of my glass. I'm not the sort of outgoing guy who excels in these situations. About 20 minutes later, colleague leaves and Alice comes over to me. This has never happened before, so I'm in a mixed state of smug and shock. But, play it cool, try to. Somehow my clueless, shy guy gambit really comes through and after a few hours we end up on a train back to Alice's house. After a quick train ride, which seemed to take absolutely forever, as Alice made her future intentions very clear, Big Head was fully disengaged. Little Head is doing all of the thinking right now, so I'm not paying much attention to my surroundings at this point. I'm more interested in the goings-on, obviously. The next morning when I'm slightly more alert, I can't help but notice photos of a man around the house. Wedding photos, holiday photos, and one that really stands out as the guy is in camouflage, with a somewhat sandy background. Notice the big gun and the chest rig, this isn't a holiday snap. Duck. Alice, who the hell is this? That's John, he's not around these days. I try to press a little more, but Alice clearly doesn't want to talk about it. She just keeps insisting he's not around. Okay, either separated or deceased. Alice doesn't want to talk about it, I'm not going to press the issue. No wedding ring or anything, so I guess I'm okay here. We keep seeing each other for 4 months and things are ducking great. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world. Finally things are going my way. Until Alice drops the bombshell. John is coming back soon. Wait, what? What do you mean coming back? He's been in another country with the Royal Marines, but his rotation is nearly done. Panic mode engaged. I've spent the last 4 months sleeping with a Marine's wife. Alice tries to assure me that John is perfectly fine with these arrangements and isn't going to care that I was planning a future with his wife. Quickly out the door, saying my goodbye and don't ducking tell him. I'm going back to my single bedroom apartment, on my own, to hide under the bed for the next 12-18 months. Duck. I found myself moving out of the area after 2 months. Fortunately I never saw Alice or John, so my head remains firmly attached to my shoulders. TLDR, got into a relationship and found out 4 months later she was married to a Royal Marine, who was serving in another country. I once saw a bumper sticker that read, "My girlfriend's husband fights for your freedom. Maybe you need to get one as well?" Personally there was no better feeling than meeting my month-old son after my 14-month deployment smile. My condolences. Or congratulations? Congratudolences. They saved on IVF costs, I consider that a win. I was hitting it off with a girl at a bar once. Things are going pretty good when she mentions her husband was deployed. I noped out of there real quick. I mean I wanted to get laid but I'm not going to knowingly sleep with a married girl. Wife of a Marine here, you'd be shook nasty if you knew how many wives I meet. I don't live on base but I do go to the events a few times a year, that love to open a bottle the second their boyfriend/husband walked away and just start bragging to other wives left and right about who they've been ducking behind their husbands' backs. A lot of their husbands are just as bad but to summarize, you'll never get ready for the ball in anyone else's hotel room again after basically being cornered and told about how easy it is to cheat for 2 hours by someone I definitely did not want to picture with no clothes on. Did you thank her for her cervix? Seriously though, hit the dude up anonymously. Yeah, I would mail an anonymous letter to his unit, if you know. Don't go into visceral detail, or too much of a description. Mention shame being the reason it took so long to reach out. You were taken for a ride, man, and if they were legit with it, no skin of your teeth. If they weren't, this guy will then know the truth. That or stay the F out of it, and let it die in the cold empty dark. Not your problem anymore, based on what you say, you were misled. 12 years ago, even as the husband I would either want to know then or not know now. Oh, 12 years? I missed that part. They are divorced by now anyway. Lol, yep, This Introducing Newscaster Vocalizer is a new first-of-its-kind, groundbreaking app, which allows you to generate full-featured voiceovers from any text using direct access to Amazon-powered Newscaster Vocalizer without spending thousands of dollars. Just select a language and voice, paste your text, click a button, and it's done. I have a similar story. I was 21 and a college athlete, so in pretty good shape. Went to a bar and met a woman who took me home. Not a massive age gap, she was like 26-27, but what I thought, at the time, to be way out of my league. CZ time was amazing, so kept it going for a while. We're at house one day and the guy comes back in full military fatigues and roses. She sees him and rushes me out the back door. A couple of weeks later she calls to say he's back overseas and wants to continue. I agreed simply because I wanted to get the guy's info. Score her out one more time, then while she's showering I got his info from a letter he wrote her. I sent him a letter, told him what happened and apologized. I blocked her from everything and never looked back. Part of me wants to know what happened, but I'm not digging. People hold grudges for a long time. Believe it or not, it's not uncommon these days for people segregated for long periods of time being fine with their partner finding a lover to, for lack of a better word, fill in for them. But if that's the case, it's smart to make sure that all parties are aware of that because, as you said, he's a Marine that has been deployed. They know how to crush you in interesting and painful ways. Smile. I think that even if I was aware of the situation, I wouldn't have gotten myself into it. Can you imagine walking up to the Marine and asking, "Hey, while you're away, you're cool with my screwing your wife, right?" Just in case he isn't happy with it. I don't think it's a safe path to go down. I think that if she was polyamorous she would have just came out and said it. I dated a guy for a while that was stationed in the army near me with a wife in Texas, and he was completely open about it and called her around me. I wasn't interested in anything long term at the time, so I honestly didn't care. Spoiler alert, she left him for the person she was with while he was gone, and eventually I moved on to a monogamous relationship. So, in these months that followed the initial duck up, didn't you ever wonder why she kept pictures up of her husband? That's the real duck up to me. I'm not sure how you actually thought he was out of the picture, when he was literally in the pictures that she chose to display around her house. If they were separated, keeping the pictures up is weird. And vaguely telling people your deceased husband is not around is even weirder. Honestly, I figured he'd passed away. She didn't want to talk about it, I didn't want to pursue it anymore. Seeing the military photos, I guessed he was KIA. With hindsight, it seems pretty clear she was messing me about. But at the time, it seemed conceivable that I'd just gotten fortunate. Man. A similar thing happened to me. I was 19 working at Home Depot. This beautiful girl started working there. Definitely out of my league, she looked just like Nicole Kidman. But long story short, literally the same day we met, I had her number and we were already talking intimate crap. Long story short, I was plowing her like every week. She lived with her family and had a kid. My intentions were not to date her, and those seemed to be her intentions as well. Apparently the baby dad just up and left once she told him she was pregnant. I would always come to her, she never knew where I lived. One day I was driving home. I get a phone call from her. I answer. And it's a man yelling out the two of his lungs about how he is going to do away with me because I was ducking his wife during his army deployment. I was like, what the duck? The next day I got fired from Home Depot for stupid things a 19-year-old would do, and that same day my friend from the paint department, where I used to be in, called me asking me what the duck had I done. That some guy caused a huge scene looking for me and that he knew I worked that day because he had seen the schedule and had a gun on his side. Where I live is legal to carry. So yeah. I guess I literally dodged a bullet by getting fired. Still no regrets. B was fine as hell. Literally dodged a bullet by getting fired. Nice wordplay. I do not like military wives like this. They give the rest of us a bad look. Had two friends of mine deal with this crap. First one, wife was cheating on him while he was deployed. Of all the people to cheat with, she was ducking her cousin. She's still with the cousin, but of course she tries to avoid people finding out it's her cousin. However, my friend has a brother still in town that makes sure people know she's a cousin ducker. Second one, wife was cheating on him with her best friend who was crashing at their house because he needed a place to stay. They're divorced now, but despite the fact that they work at the same base and live within 15 minutes of each other, she's constantly bailing when it's her turn to take care of their daughter. Last incident I witnessed was her canceling her weekend with her daughter so that she could go get a bikini wax because she was planning on visiting the boyfriend. Worldwide comments of the day: so because the genders are reverse you suddenly feel embarrassed and ashamed at your stay-at-home husband. Geez, it's almost like she gets to see from the other side of the fence. Story 1. She doesn't call him her BF because she doesn't respect him and is likely going to end things when she graduates. Story 2. He should be working, but I suspect that if he does she'll complain about stuff not getting done around the house. Let's be real, she doesn't respect him because she makes more than him. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and relatable Reddit videos.